All right, welcome back to another episode of the Trainer Loadout podcast. In this episode, we have what I consider to be one of the probably top tier Pokemon masters. BVreeze has consecutively gotten very high streaks in the Battle Frontier. So in this episode, we're going to dive into one of his double battle teams, and then later on, we're going to pick his brain and kind of see how he thinks about theory crafting teams within the Frontier to get very high streaks. So pretty excited to get this conversation going. But anyway, BVreeze, want to introduce yourself to everybody in case they don't know who you are already?
Yes, so I'm BVreeze, and thank you for the compliment, calling me a Pokemon master. Compared to this maybe a bit more casual community, I have some very impressive streaks, but there are people who are way better than me, way more experienced, and have way bigger streaks.
So you're very high
But
up there, though.
I do have some experience and some good streaks. So I have been playing Pokemon since Generation 1. Started with Red, which I didn't buy, but I traded for at school for one of my other games. And that's how I started Pokemon, with someone else's save file. But I quickly started my own save file. Played through Red, traded it for Blue, played through Blue, traded it for Yellow, played through Yellow. Still have that Yellow. Then I got Gold and a Game Boy Color for Sinterklaas, which is like a Dutch version of Christmas, we'll say. Played that for a very long time. So Johto is my most nostalgic region for me. Eventually I got Emerald, played a bunch of Emerald, and now we're here. Like, I played other games as well, but Emerald is the important one for now, which I've gotten back to about half a year ago when I started making videos about Emerald, about the Frontier. And I started off just using some silly teams. Like, one of my earliest teams was an Oko only team, where I like Sheer Cold, Mindreader, Sheer Cold, Articuno. I had Fisher, Donphan, and I had Sheer Cold, Horndrill, Lapras. Like, these teams were not serious, but as I did more and more teams, and like I got my gold in the tower, and was like, okay, I got gold with a team that had no attacking moves. There's like Curse, Dusclops, Spikes, Skarmory, Toxic Blissey. And then I was like, okay, now I want to do something a little bit more serious. So I made a serious team for tower singles then, and now also other facilities and tower doubles. So that's a little bit about me and also my YouTube channel.
So yeah, you got 2 YouTube channels, right?
Yeah, I've got one where I upload just like more normal gameplay, mostly unedited or with like a voiceover. And I've got another channel which only has 2 videos, which is more high quality content, I would say. Like a summary of a lot of battles with certain teams, basically both of the videos.
Yeah, so if anybody's interested in checking out more BVreeze's content, we'll leave all those links in the description so you could go find them. I guess some kind of more icebreaker questions. What are some of your favorite Pokemon?
So my favorite Pokemon is Oddish.
Oddish?
Which is maybe not the most common pick.
Wow.
But this comes from my first playthrough of Red, where I had a Charmander. And, you get to the second gym. Misty has a Starmie, pretty strong. I got stuck. And I caught an Oddish, and Oddish carried me. And Oddish stayed on the team. You know how like kids are obsessed with like just using attacking moves when they're playing, and all the other moves don't matter? Well, I had like an obsession with moves that recover your HP. And of course, Oddish has Absorb, which deals damage and it recovers your HP. So best Pokemon ever. And I just really like Oddish, and it has influenced like a lot of my teams, like not just as using Oddish, but using a Pokemon that is like Oddish. Like, my favorite starter became Bulbasaur. And then in future, like in Gold, I always had a grass type, which wasn't always Oddish. And then Like in later generations, I had like Gen 3, I had Shroomish, who has its Absorb. In Gen 4, I had Budew. It became this archetype of Pokemon that became my favorite, and Oddish is the one that started it.
Is that why you like? Is it Blossom too? I'm guessing your profile picture is Vileplume, just because of the
Yes.
evolution. Like
Yeah,
now
I
it
have
makes sense.
one channel is Vileplume, the other is Blossom, because they're from Oddish.
So what? Like, give me two other Pokemon then, or I'm guessing outside of the Oddish evolutionary line.
So I have a couple. There's some like more standard ones, like Umbreon,
Mm-hmm.
and I like Skarmory because as a kid, one time I started a playthrough of Gold, and a friend traded me a Skarmory just hatched for my Chikorita, and of course Skarmory is completely broken in the early game of Gen 2, and in general, it's a really strong
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon. But for some less powerful Pokemon, at least in the early gens, I would say Persian and Ninetales.
Persian's an interesting one. I feel like I don't hear too many people say that they like Persian.
Yeah, I just like cats. And I've also used both of these. I've also used Umbreon and Skarmory to get
Mm-hmm.
decent streaks, but I like Ninetales and Persian are some lesser powerful Pokemon that I've gotten 100 wins or more with
It's crazy.
in a single streak.
How'd you get the name BVreeze? I've been meaning to ask you this since I heard your name.
So I used to go by like Freeze, but like the normal spelling,
Mm-hmm.
normal word. But of course, that username is taken most of the time. So I went through some variations of that, and I eventually ended up with BVreeze, which is like uh, the Dutch word for freeze, or a possible translation is bevries.
Mm-hmm.
But if like an English speaker would pronounce that, they would say BVreeze. So that's how I ended up with it.
So I guess am I pronouncing it wrong then? Is it BVreeze or is it?
No, it is
Okay, I
BVreeze, but it
got
just
you.
comes from a Dutch word.
All right, I really do want to dive into this team. So if you're ready, I'm ready. I'm excited because this
Sure.
is the first. So okay, first double battle team that we're gonna be talking about for the Emerald Frontier, right? So I guess give us like kind of a rundown at a high level of the Pokemon on the team, and then we'll kind of deep dive into what's going on, like why they were chosen, all this other stuff like that.
I think maybe I should explain doubles a little bit first
That's a good point because
before we
even
get
I don't
into.
really know
Yeah, I
doubles like
was
at
going to
all.
ask you, what is your experience with doubles?
I know that you got two Pokemon.
Yes, very important.
I mean, outside of like the Coliseum and XD, I guess double battle things. I don't have no experience in Emerald or the anything in the Emerald Frontier with the double battle, so I'm pretty fresh.
Yeah, I think the same goes for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Emerald does not really force you to think about doubles. Like there's a couple of double battles that you'll face throughout playing the game, even in a multi battle. They're not really something you seriously have to think about. You don't have to build your team around doubles.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's best if I explain it a little bit
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because it's
definitely.
very, very different from singles, at least in the frontier. But now, I mean, it always is, but like it is like the complete opposite of singles for me as someone who has some higher streaks. Because in singles, what is really good is like a more stally defensive play style for super long streaks. But for doubles, you want to go hyper offensive, or at least very offensive. Offensive teams are much better because in singles you can stall out a Pokemon. Like you can 1v1, you can switch in your counter to that Pokemon. Like you can switch Blissey into special attackers or whatever, and Blissey will tank anything that gets thrown at it. In doubles, that is not possible, at least not consistently, because there are two Pokemon attacking you at the same time. And if that's a physical and a special Pokemon on the opposing team, like if you send out your Blissey, you don't know if you're going to be tanking
Mm-hmm.
the physical hit or the special hit or both of them or none of them. So that's something that's very different. So playing defensive, like you can make defensive plays, but relative to singles, it is not defensive at all. The play style, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important that the play style is completely different. So some important mechanics: spread moves like rock slide and surf that hit both of your opponents but not your ally. Surf hits your ally in later generations but not in Gen 3. So these moves, like Blizzard also, they have their damage reduced by 50%, which means they become very weak.
To both Pokemon? Like this fit? Wait, I guess yeah, that's how it would work.
Yeah,
That
you
I didn't know
basically
that.
deal
Jeez.
100% damage total, sort of.
God, I think that makes
Yeah,
sense.
both of them take 50% of the damage they normally would,
Mm-hmm.
which means those moves most of the time are not good. And there is an exception, which is moves like Earthquake and Explosion, who hits everyone else besides the user. Or an Explosion, I mean, you do kill yourself, but if you hit your ally and the opponents, then the damage is unchanged. It's 100%. And in later generations, I believe those are also 75. With Surf is 75, like Rock Slide becomes 75, and Earthquake also becomes 75 in Gen 4 and later. But in this generation, full power, which we'll get into when we get to the team. And then another interesting thing for the AI is the AI doesn't care how much damage they deal to your Pokemon. Like you have two Pokemon, they deal 5% maximum damage to one, they deal 95% to the other. They don't care. As long as they don't see a kill, it's the same to them. So you don't know who's going to be targeted, even if you're like, oh, if I was targeting, I would always target this Pokemon because I would deal so much damage, and to the other, I deal no damage. But the AI doesn't care. They just, if they don't see a kill and they don't have some other reason to click a different move, like you're faster, so they want to use Thunder Wave or something. If they don't have that, then it's just going to be, as far as I'm aware, a random target. So
Hmm.
you don't always know what's happening. However, sometimes you do know what's happening because if they see a kill on only one of your Pokemon, then they are going to go for that kill. And you can abuse this because one of the best moves in doubles is Protect. And if they see the kill on that Pokemon that has Protect, you click Protect, both of the opponents attack into the Protect, so they do absolutely nothing. That means that your other Pokemon has a free turn to do whatever it wants. That's a very important mechanic for doubles.
So now I'm seeing why you have Protect on every single Pokemon. Because that was definitely a question I
Yeah,
had. I was
and
like, why?
yeah, Protect is like the best move in doubles. It's kind of like we haven't really talked about this yet, but in singles, like Substitute is one of the best moves. Protect is still really good, but in doubles, it's Protect is really good, and Substitute can still be very good, but mostly Protect. So yeah, do you have any questions?
So outside of there are differences in doubles compared to singles, and obviously that's going to feed into your decision making and like the team design. I think if there's nothing else you could think of that's different with the doubles, and let's go into the team and then we'll see.
Yeah,
I guess through the team building, I guess we'll see maybe, or at least I will see like that thought process being applied, if that makes sense.
yeah, that
But I
makes
guess is
sense.
there anything else with the doubles that you want to mention?
No, I think that's it for now. It's everything I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if we move to my team, or let's start with the team building. So I had made a serious team for singles. I don't remember how long my streak was at the moment, but I got over 100 wins. I was like, okay, I haven't really done doubles yet, but I really like doubles. Unfortunately, there's not really a reason in the frontier to do doubles. You can't get the symbols. There's no Annabelle in the tower or a Tucker in the dome or whatever. You just get battle points and that's it, and it's fun. That's the reason I play. But getting battle points, if you have a good doubles team, it's so easy. So that could be a reason if you need to farm battle points. But
Mm-hmm.
for most people, that's not going to be relevant, I think. And you could also, if possible, you could do multi-battle, which is like a better version if you have two systems. So yeah, I wanted to do doubles because I hadn't really touched it yet. Like I did one for fun video with a team that only had explosion, I think, and it wasn't optimized at all. It was fun. I got some wins, but not very far, like 60-ish. But I used to play a little bit of VGC a long time ago, like 2017, 2018, which is the official Pokemon competitive format, which is also doubles. So it has some similarities, and because I was experienced with doubles, I knew I would like it. And my goal was to get 100 wins with a team. So first, I wanted to build around Tauros because I had been using Tauros in singles on not on my serious team, but on my early round grind team because it's fast, it's strong. Give it a choice band, and as long as you have hidden power ghost, it will deal a lot of damage to most things with return, double edge, earthquake, power ghost. So that's the first thing I was looking at, and I was looking at some damage calculations, and I saw that choice band earthquake missed the kill on a lot of things. Just barely didn't have enough damage because we don't have stab, and 100 base attack it's not low, but it's not that strong. So I changed to something else, and also like I was thinking Towers Latios because Latios is also my early tower grind team. But Latios Tauros on a team already exists on like the Smogon leaderboard.
Mhm.
It's a really good team. It has like over 1,000 wins.
It's already kind of
I
proven.
wanted to I wanted to build my own team,
Mhm.
even if it was like worse. I wanted to make something work that I made myself. But Earthquake was what I was looking at. So I needed a Pokemon that was stronger. So we're gonna look at stab because like we have Towers has 100 base attack. That's you're not gonna get like much higher, or like you can get like Salamence 135 or whatever, but that's still less than like a stab boost. So I was looking at the ground types, and unfortunately, the ground types are like not quite what I would like for doubles. They're like too slow or too frail. Because if we look
Mhm.
at the strongest Pokemon, it's Rhydon and then Donphan. Those are all very slow. Marowak with Fit Club, of course, also very slow. They're all very weak on the special defense side. So they're good defense, but if they get hit by a special move,
Mhm.
pretty good
They're
chance they
done.
die. And they're so slow that they can't outspeed much. Same for Golem. And then we have Flygon, who is really fast, or quite fast at 100 base speed. Has 100 attack, so it's pretty good with stab. But you're so frail. You have a quad weakness to ice beam, and there's a lot of ice beam around. So that just wasn't gonna work. At least I don't think it was gonna work. So I saw Swampert. You only have a weakness to grass. Most Pokemon that have a grass move that isn't stab, they can't even kill you, even with no investment. And anything else that isn't super effective basically doesn't kill you. So we're bulky. We're not very fast, but in the Emerald Frontier, a lot of Pokemon don't have speed investment.
Hmm.
So even though we only have a base 60 speed, if we invest in speed, we can still outspeed a lot of things. It's not going to be perfect, but it will have to do. And of course, we have base 110 attack with stab. That's and a choice band. That's a very powerful earthquake now. So I ended up with Swampert, and then well, I'm already mentioned grass types. They're going to be an issue, and Pokemon that are immune to ground are going to be an issue. So I decided to build my team around those two things, like dealing with those. So the first version of the team, I kept the Latios lead that I was considering with Tauros. So that was Swampert Latios was my lead. Latios, of course, very powerful, 130 special attack. 110 base speed, also very important. We want to be fast. We are playing aggressive, so we want to take them out before they hit us. And immune to Earthquake, because I want to click Earthquake with Swampert basically every turn if possible. And if my partner gets hit by my Earthquake, then we're going to have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Also resist grass, which, I mean, as long as we're not weak to grass, would have been fine. We have great coverage with, I had Psychic, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt. Then in the back, we have Gengar, who is, of course, also immune to Earthquake. We resist grass. We're not weak to ice, because I didn't want to get too many ice weaknesses. We have good speed, again, 110. We also have the 130 special attack, but we have Ice Punch, so a little bit weaker than the Ice Beam. We have Thunderbolt. Gengar's job, there's two actually. The one is to be really fast, come in and finish off a Pokemon that's already been weakened, because we don't have a stab move on Gengar, so we usually don't one-shot, but sometimes we do, because we are still strong. But the second, and the real reason I picked Gengar, is we have Parasong. And I don't know how familiar you are with Parasong, but it's you use Parasong and it doubles, it's very strong. Everyone on the field will die in 3 turns. And you can switch out of this, and the AI will switch out on the last turn if possible.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why Gengar is in the back, so we can Parasong later in the game when there are no possible switch outs. Or there's only one, because it can still be useful. If there are 3 Pokemon left, only one of them can switch. Important for someone who wants to use Parasong. As far as I'm aware, and I've played quite a few games now with Parasong on different teams, if they have 3 Pokemon, so only one in the back who can be switched in, they will switch out the Pokemon in the right slot every time, and the one on the left will die. So this can be useful sometimes, because if you need to stop someone from like setting up, or someone is setting up and you want to get rid of them, but there's 3 Pokemon left, you can Parasong early and either they still die or they're switched out and they lose the boost. On this team, that's a little bit less needed, but sometimes that can be really good. And we also have immunities to fighting and normal besides our Earthquake immunity. And fighting and normal is some of the strongest attacks. And of course, Latios doesn't care too much about fighting, but Swampert, cross chop crit, we don't really want to get hit. But also more importantly, Explosion is a massive threat, and we're immune to Explosion, so that's good. And then on to the last team member. It's Articuno, another ground immune. We are very good into grass types. Not only do we resist, but we have Stab Ice Beam. And then we have Haze. I don't know if you know Haze. Have you ever used Haze?
I've seen it once or twice. I've been meaning to use it like in a team because I think it's awesome. But yeah, you can describe it in case people don't know.
Yeah, so Haze removes all the stat boosts and drops from everyone on the field. So if you're up against, let's say, a Curse Snorlax, you use Haze, Curse Boost is gone. But the more common use for Haze, for me, was to get rid of Double Team, because they can be so annoying. Of course, Parasong also deals with Double Team, so I basically had a choice. But also importantly, Parasong, if you only have 2 Pokemon left and use Parasong, you can't switch out. You're gonna die, and that means we as the player lose, even if it's a tie. In the Battle Dome, that's not necessarily the case. You can win when it's a tie if you're the higher seed, except against Tucker. So something to keep in mind if you want to use it in the Dome, but everywhere else you will lose. So I wanted Haze to take care of boosters if I couldn't switch around anymore. And also, sometimes it's just faster to just kill something instead of waiting for 3 turns for it to die. So yeah, we're immune to Earthquake, but also very importantly, I wanted to switch in to ice moves because we have a Latios. And I mean, for Swampert, it can also be nice sometimes. Latios weak to ice, so it's going to invite ice beams. And Articuno isn't a resist per se, but you have 125 base special defense.
Jeez.
And more importantly, you are ice type, which means you are immune to being frozen, which is a very big threat.
Hmm.
So that's why I ended up with Articuno. Any questions about the team so far?
I guess is this the first iteration of the team or?
Oh, yeah, I guess the images I sent of you were slightly different because it's the last version. This was the first version of the team,
Mhm.
and I had the Swampert was Adamant, and I had Earthquake, Hidden Power Rock, because I wanted to hit the ground immunes, so flying types.
Mhm.
Double Edge, and I think I started with Brick Break, but I then switched to Protect, even though we have a choice band, because Protect is just that good. And then the Latios was and it was max attack, max speed. And the Latios was Psychic, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Protect, max special attack, almost max speed. The Articuno, uh, also max special attack, almost max speed. We had originally leftovers, but I switched to Nevermelt Ice for more damage. Protect, Haze, Ice Beam, Hidden Power Grass. And then Gengar with a Cherry Berry and Thunderbolt. Originally I had Fire Punch, but I switched to Ice Punch later. Parasong, Protect, and again Special Attack, Max, and then almost max speed. And the Latios is like one speed faster than the Gengar in case they are out together and there's like 3 Pokemon left. Then I kill one Pokemon with the Latios. Oh, this is an important mechanic I didn't talk about. In Generation 3 only, in doubles, when you get knocked out mid-turn, the next Pokemon comes in immediately and can be attacked.
Ooh.
But if another Pokemon still has to move. So in this case, Latios would knock out a Pokemon. In comes the last Pokemon, so there's only 2 enemies left on the field. Gengar immediately goes for Parasong, and both of the Pokemon are affected. This is changed in later generations where you switch in a new Pokemon at the end of the turn. So that's why Latios is slightly faster. So I used this team, and I lost at 96 wins, and my goal was 100.
So close. That's still so
So
high
close.
though. At least for
But
me.
yeah, yeah, it's still a decent streak. And this made me want to change the team. And one of the reasons, like the battle I lost, I think it was Gardevoir, or maybe it was Porygon. They traced Levitate from Latios. And that happened a bunch of times. And it was so annoying because I want to kill things with Earthquake. And Gardevoir is actually a really annoying Pokemon. If I can't hit it with Earthquake, like it's super bulky on the special defense. All
Mhm.
my other Pokemon are special attackers. I want to hit that Gardevoir. So I got rid of Latios. So I needed to find something else. And that something else was Zapdos. Flying type, so we don't need Levitate. And of course, we have worse offensive coverage because I just had Thunderbolt and Hidden Power Ice instead of Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Psychic. Hidden Power Ice is also quite a bit weaker, and we're a bit slower, which is a little awkward sometimes. However, with Thunderbolt, on a stab electric type, we get kills that we did not get with Latios, which turned out to be really nice. Like things like Charizard just barely survives Thunderbolt from Latios. Even Gyarados, the really bulky ones, they can survive Thunderbolt from Latios.
Hmm.
With Zapdos, we pick up those kills immediately. They have to switch out the next Pokemon. If it's not a flying type, it has to tank my Earthquake. So that's great. I also made some changes, which is the Swampert. I changed to Jolly, so plus speed instead of plus attack. And I changed from Hidden Power Rock, which was nice to have for hitting all the flyers. I changed to Hidden Power Ghost. And the reason for this is Hidden Power Rock, like Hidden Power is decided by your IVs. And
Mhm.
Hidden Power Rock, the highest speed stat you can have is 30 IVs. But for Hidden Power Ghost, you can have 31. And at 1 point of speed allows me to outspeed the fastest Metagross and Earthquake it and kill it before it moves.
It's probably huge, actually.
It is really nice. Now that Metagross also has a Quick Claw, so it's still not guaranteed, but 80% of the time, that's still pretty good. So yeah, that was the change to Swampert. And Zapdos came in, max special attack, max speed, a hasty nature, because I was Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, and Drill Peck, and then Protect. And so that was that version of the team. Still had the Gengar, but now with Ice Punch. And the Articuno remained unchanged with the Never Melt Ice. And I did a few attempts. It took me a little bit to get used to the team, but then I finally got my streak that passed 100 wins. And I was like, well, now I just keep going until I lose, right? And then I passed 200 wins. I'm like, okay, this is beyond my expectations. And I was like, well, I guess the next goal is like 300. And we didn't quite get there. We got 289 wins.
So is that your highest double battle streak, or is
Yes, that is my highest double battle
Mhm.
streak. I've done a bunch more since with this version of this team, and also some other teams. And the highest with this team that I got was yesterday. I got a streak on stream of 211 wins, but I also got 182, 165, and some lower
so pretty
streaks.
consistent, or
So I
consistently
can
high?
get decently high streaks, but the team is far from perfect. It has some bad matchups, and eventually you run into bad RNG. And I don't know, like this 289 streak, I don't know if I got super lucky. Like I did get some good
Probably a little
luck
bit.
for sure. It has been some months since I did that streak. And like last week I did a bunch of streaks, and I only got to 200 once. Now I did get really unfortunate, like I had multiple losses to one in multiple hundreds or over 1,000 odds that I would lose, and I lost. So I don't know if I got really unlucky this week or I got really lucky that week, or yeah, whenever I did that streak, or a combination of both. But yeah, it was definitely an outlier so far. And I made some small changes to the team again, like the new version I'm using, which is that the Swampert is now a hasty nature, because we no longer have double edge, because I clicked double edge maybe twice in the 289 streak. It just wasn't that useful. So I grabbed Ice Beam instead, and we have no investment in special attack, like 4 EVs, the ones that are left over. However, we still one-shot Flygon and sometimes Salamence, I think, but mostly we just deal a lot of damage. It's basically, there are some trainers, like the Dragon Tamer, where usually I can't Earthquake, and they have a lot of 4 times ice weaknesses, so Ice Beam can be nice. Also the flying type trainers, sometimes it's useful. But for the most part, it's not used that much, but I used it a bunch yesterday, so it's more useful than Double Edge ever was. And then Zapdos has been changed. I no longer have a hasty nature, I now have Timid, and instead of Drill Peck, I have Light Screen. And this is because of 2 of the major threats to this team are Gardevoir and Gengar. Because as I mentioned before, if Pokemon doesn't have Stab with Giga Drain or something, with a grass move, they usually don't kill. The exceptions are, of course, Solar Beam, but that takes a turn to charge, so we just get a free turn, usually. But then there's Gardevoir and Gengar. Gengar, there's one set with Giga Drain, and Gengar is strong enough. And Gardevoir has a couple of sets with Magical Leaf, and both of these Pokemon outspeed my Swampert, and they can one-shot. But if I have a Light Screen up, that's no longer the case. So this makes those matchups a lot more reliable for me.
Mm-hmm.
because it became really awkward. Like Gengar has 8 sets, only one has Giga Drain, but every time there was a Gengar lead, I had to like switch out Swampert because I could die. I
You
didn't know
can't
it
take
was
the risk.
unlikely that I would die, but it was possible. And then most of the time I can't risk losing Swampert on turn 1 before it does anything. But my Zapdos outspeeds the Gengars because of the plus speed nature on Zapdos, and the Gengars are neutral nature except for one, but that one isn't max speed. Also, that one doesn't. It's a weird set. It's like Hypnosis, Dream Eater, Attract, Confuse Ray, I think. So that wouldn't really matter anyway. So yeah, I switched the light screen, and then I also have the Articuno no longer has haze because I'm building the team right now on my Emerald cartridge, and I caught a Articuno in Leaf Green, but haze is a move from XD, so I will have to do without haze. And I put toxic on there for now. I've not really used toxic because I'm just not in a situation. The idea behind toxic is if I only have 2 Pokemon left and I can't use Perish Song, and there's like Blissey spamming double team or whatever, I can toxic the Blissey and it will die eventually.
That makes sense. You got an answer for it at least.
Yeah. But I'm basically never in that situation. So I haven't really used toxic much. But I've also not really missed haze, which kind of surprised me because I did use it a bunch. But to be fair, most of the time I used it, it was against a Pokemon spamming double team. But Perish Song also deals with that. And like double team Pokemon just aren't dangerous to me. Like if I see them in the lead slot, one of the 2 leads, it's actually really good for me because that means there's one slot that's not going to attack me. I can just ignore it until it's like the last Pokemon left, and it's basically a free game for me.
Is that just because you got the Perish Song?
Yeah, in part because of the Perish Song, and the main reason is like they just want to set up as long as you don't hurt them. Now I do use Earthquake, so something like an Umbreon, if I do get a hit off,
Mm-hmm.
it might start attacking me, but it's an Umbreon. It's going to use like Shadow Ball or Feint Attack. It's not really going to hurt me that bad. And Ludicolo takes like not enough damage, so it will often still double team. And then it also doesn't have attacking moves most of the time. One of them does have Giga Drain, but because there's no attack investment, it doesn't see a kill on Swampert, so I still don't care. So yeah, I just leave them for last, and then I Parasong them later. And because they're dead weight on the enemy team, I don't lose 2 Pokemon, so I can just Parasong later.
So, guys, I got a pretty big question. So, in the final version of this team I'm looking at, you got Swampert, Gengar, and Articuno have an ice move. Gengar and Zapdos have Thunderbolt. And
Yes.
it just seems like a lot of overlap, but is that just because Swampert pretty much with the Earthquake is going to hit a majority of the things, and then the ice and thunder moves are kind of just to combat the things that Earthquake can't hit? Am I understanding that kind of right?
Yeah. Pretty much Swampert is the most important member of the team, and everyone else is just there to support Swampert. And one of the big things is we need to take out the Pokemon that cannot be hit by Earthquake. So that's the Flyers, that's the Levitators,
Mm-hmm.
and those are weak to Electric and Ice. So that's basically why almost everyone has those. Like, I mean, they have at least one of those.
Mm-hmm. That makes more sense. I mean, as we're obviously going through the conversation, like it kind of, I'm coming to that answer, but yeah, just to hear you, I guess, confirm that makes more sense now. There's so many ice moves.
Yeah. I mean, Ice is a fantastic offensive type. It's
Mm-hmm.
not great defensively, except for the fact that you cannot be frozen, which is a massive thing in long streaks. But it's maybe a little bit more relevant in singles. I mean, it's still important in doubles, but I feel like in singles you're doing way more defensive switching, so it might be more important there. But we'll maybe get to that later when we talk about team building.
So who are you? You're always starting Swampert on this, but then who's the next person with Swampert?
Zapdos.
Zapdos is.
Zapdos and Swampert. Wait, I didn't mention this before, but in the tower, you have 4 Pokemon. Oh, yeah, of course, we have a team with 4.
Mhm.
But in some of the other facilities, this is different. Actually, I think in all of them, this is different. In the factory, where you don't use your own team, but you only have 3 Pokemon. In the palace, you only have 3 Pokemon. In the dome, you bring 3 Pokemon, but then for every match, you pick 2. So there's no switching. Very interesting. And I think that's all the facilities that have dedicated doubles. Like you can get doubles in the pike and the pyramid, but it's only sometimes. But there you only have 3 Pokemon. And then the arena is singles because doubles wouldn't work.
Mhm.
Doubles is way too fast paced. Like a lot of the times in 3 turns, my battle is done. Like
That's
doubles
pretty
is that
quick.
fast. Like it's not always the case, but
Mhm.
in an ideal turn 1, I kill 3 Pokemon
Because
out
your
of the 4.
earthquake's hitting too, and then
Yeah,
the.
Zapdos kills 1, they switch in another Pokemon, and I kill 2 with Earthquake. Like that's the ideal scenario. That's most of the time that doesn't happen, but it's not that uncommon. So yeah, this team, it wins really hard most of the time. And it's really easy to play most of the time. Like when I see the names of the Pokemon that are being sent out, I already know which moves I'm selecting. Like it's super fast most of the time. Like a round, sometimes one round of doubles, like 7 battles takes me 15 minutes or something. Compared to like my super consistent doubles team or singles team, sorry, which took like 2 hours for one round. Like it's such a breath of fresh air compared to that to complete stall. Of course, not every round will be that fast. Most take longer, like 20, 25 minutes, sometimes
Mhm.
half an hour, maybe. Like sometimes there's a really difficult battle and I need like 5 to 10 minutes to decide like my approach of the battle. And then after that, it will be fast again. But sometimes like I need to figure out I'm in a bad spot. I have 3 Pokemon left. I'm in a really difficult position. And then I have to decide, am I going to try to kill both like my opponents or am I going to try to set up a Parasong win? Like which switches do I need to make? And then one turn takes a really long time to figure out, and then the rest will be fast again. Usually,
I would almost think that my initial thought, at least on the double battles, is that it would take longer than the singles. So to hear you say like it kind of, for the most part, generalizing it, it takes shorter time is kind of interesting. Kind of makes me
yeah.
want to
There's
try it
more
out.
Pokemon, but it's way faster. It's extremely fast. Like I mentioned, you can't really stall as easily in doubles. Like there are some ways you could try to stall a bit, and you could, but like the more you want to stall, like the worse the team becomes most of the time in doubles because you just cannot consistently stall against 2 powerful Pokemon. And of course, not every trainer will send out 2 powerful Pokemon, but it will happen a lot. Like you're going to go through a lot of battles, it will happen, and you will be overwhelmed by the offense. If they double target into one Pokemon, it's either going to die or it's just going to be really low, and then they see the kill, so they're going to keep attacking. And like you can't stall out your opponents in doubles. So yeah, I'll talk about the weaknesses of the team that I made.
I was just gonna ask that.
So yeah, the major threats, like there are of course a lot of strong Pokemon that are dangerous, but they're like a neutral matchup. Like yeah, they're dangerous, but I can also just kill them easily. So yeah, if I run into 4 strong Pokemon, yeah, sure, that's dangerous. Like they just send out, I don't know, Starmie is like a good and a bad matchup because it's a speed tie with Zapdos if it's max speed. But Zapdos one shots it. So yeah, Starmie is dangerous, but it's also just dies. So there's a lot of things that are neutral. But the major threats, uh, first let's start with grass types. They're not really that dangerous for me. Even though like I have to play around them. I can't click Earthquake turn 1 most of the time when there's a grass type. Well, at least part of the time. Like sometimes I can because You have like defensive Vileplume, defensive Venusaur. They don't. They only have a very small chance of killing Swampert, and if I double up into them with Hidden Power, Ice, Earthquake, I kill them. So, but like they do have Bright Powder, but even if they Bright Powder, the chance that they attack me is low because most of the time, I think how it works, I'm not completely sure, but the AI they roll for damage. So even if they could kill you, but they do a damage roll, they're like, okay, I don't see a kill. They won't attack me because it's a double team set in that case, the Venusaur and the Vileplume. So they just double team most of the time because they don't see the kill and they want to set up because they're full HP. So I'm completely safe even if I miss. Most of the time, if they do attack, it's a very small chance because even if they see the kill, then they attack you and then comes the actual damage roll. So if they don't roll like max damage, they still live. But most of the time, I would have to switch out against a stab grass move. So I have to play around it. It changes how the game goes. But they're not really that dangerous because the rest of my team, everyone is good into grass types. And if they're double team spammers like Meganium 2 or whatever, I have Perish Song, I have Toxic, or previously I had Haze. Like, I don't care. So grass types, they're dangerous and they're not dangerous at the same time. Then Gardevoir Gengar, like I mentioned before, really annoying Pokemon, really dangerous. Like Gengar, if it doesn't have Giga Drain, it can still have Ice Punch. It can Ice Punch my Zapdos. Gardevoir, also Ice Punch. They both can have Psychic. They like Psychicking my Swampert, so I can switch in Gengar if I would want to. They're very dangerous, but now that I have Light Screen, they're a lot more manageable. Now, I must say, when I started using Light Screen, for some reason, there was like a 50% chance I would get crit turn 1 after setting up Light Screen.
That's how it is.
It was not going well for me, but overall, it has made playing the team a lot better for me. Because just the safety, like the knowledge that there's only a 1 in 8 chance this Gengar is Gengar 8. So there's very small chances of Giga Drain. So I just set up this Light Screen. Now I don't have to worry about switching out the Gengar or the Swampert against Gengar. And probably more importantly, the Gardevoir, because like I mentioned earlier, Gardevoir has insanely high special defense. So I would need to attack it 3 times to kill it if it's bulky Gardevoir. And I wasn't using Earthquake. Like if it's fast, offensive Gardevoir, one shot with Earthquake. If it's bulky, it lives with like 15% HP. So I just kill it with any move afterwards. So being able to stay in an Earthquake, massive. Then maybe the most dangerous Pokemon, at least depending on when it comes out. Aerodactyl 2, specifically 2, which is Choice Band Ancient Power. If this comes out in the lead, I have to protect Zapdos because it will one-shot my Zapdos with Ancient Power. And there's only 2 Aerodactyl that outspeed Zapdos and have Ancient Power. The other 2, I just Thunderbolt and I kill them because I outspeed and they just die. But a lot of the time, I don't know if this Aerodactyl is going to be Aerodactyl 2 or not. So I have to play safe. So the upside for me, Aerodactyl, the Ancient Power is 5 PP. Zapdos has pressure, Articuno has pressure. So one attack would cost 2 PP. So I can easily stall them out. And I can also outspeed them with Gengar. And Gengar doesn't quite one-shot. However, sometimes I will Ice Beam with Swampert turn 1. And then I can also kill with Gengar later. But most of the time I don't want the Ice Beam because if it is one of the bad Aerodactyls, then I'll just one-shot them the next turn with Thunderbolt from Zapdos. And then I've wasted turn 1 from Swampert and I'm locked into Ice Beam, which is my worst move most of the time. So yeah, Aerodactyl 2 is very scary. So usually the play is I protect turn 1. If they Ancient Power into my protect, I switch into Gengar. Then I can try to kill it, or I protect with Gengar, because like Gengar will switch into Ancient Power, live on a little bit of HP. Or worst case scenario, well, it's not necessarily worst case, but let's say they both my opponents attack the Gengar slot, kill Gengar, Zapdos comes out again, I protect again, and with 2 pressures and the attack on Gengar, it's now out of PP and it has to struggle. So now I'm safe. That's basically how I play around Aerodactyl. And then another group of dangerous Pokemon, the Regis. All 3 of them. The worst one is Regice, because like only Swampert can kill Regice. It's 200 special defense. I don't have any super effective moves. It one-shots Zapdos if it's offensive. And the Articuno and Gengar also don't like taking the Ice Beams or the Thunderbolts. It can also spam Thunder Wave. I really do not like Thunder Wave. It can be double team. Like it can be really annoying for many reasons. And if it's in the lead, then I'll always have to figure out, do I protect my Zapdos here? Because this could one-shot Zapdos. And then you go for protect, and then it sets up a double team or something. Like it doesn't even attack you. I'm like, oh no. But yeah, that's really annoying. And Registeel and Regirock are very dangerous because they don't die to Earthquake. And they could have counter, which would of course kill Swampert. And they can also have Quick Claw Explosion, which I've lost to multiple times with this team. Recently, it was like my worst matchup, apparently. Like I got like, I lost one streak in 165 to turn 1 full HP Quick Claw Explosion. Like, okay,
nothing you can do about that. You just die.
Yeah, you just die. And then like I could have still won, but then like turn 2 Bright Powder and stuff like that, and like, okay, thanks game. You really didn't want me to lose, huh? So yeah, the Regis, they're all trouble. And of course, Regirock, Rock Slide against Zapdos, and especially Articuno. We don't, even though like Rock Slide damage is reduced by 50%, it's still a lot of damage. Like Articuno doesn't get one shot, but it doesn't like it.
It's still a stab, super effective.
Yeah. And then another bad matchup, the legendary trainers. There are 5 trainers, if I remember correctly, who only have legendary Pokemon. Or in open level, I was playing mostly level 50. In open level, they can have Dragonite and Tyranitar. But in level 50, they only have legendaries. Which means they're very likely to have the Regis. But also, a lot of the legendaries are immune to Earthquake. So it's a really tough matchup. And I lost a couple of my streaks. Like one of them had Quick Claw Explosion, so I lost that one. I lost my most recent streak at 211 wins to a legendary trainer who won the speed tie against Zapdos with Raikou. Critical hit. I couldn't set up light screen. My Swampert died because I didn't have light screen and I lost. Oh yeah, and also I got Quick Claw the next turn and Gengar got one shot by Latios because like I wasn't losing hard enough apparently. But yeah, that battle was probably already over after the speed tie crit. But then it was definitely over after the Quick Claw. Yeah, that's the main danger thing. Special mention for the Quick Claw Explosion because it's not just the Regis, it's like Steelix, Fortress, Golem. There's a bunch, there's Muck. There's a bunch of Pokemon with Quick Claw Explosion. And it's definitely, for when I start building my next team, it's something I'm going to be considering a lot because like I lost 2 long streaks, 100 plus wins in a row to Quick Claw Explosion. And it's supposed to be something that happens rarely, but it happened to me a lot. Like in my 211 streak, one of the early battles, like 100s, early 100s, I only won because I protected Zapdos in case of Quick Claw Explosion, and they got Quick Claw Explosion.
Wow. It seems very unlikely. Yeah, I mean, obviously it will happen eventually, but I feel like it is also pretty hard to try and manage or build around every little thing,
It
especially
is
something like
very
that.
difficult to like this team. There are some options you have to play around it, and I started trying it more and more as like I lost 2 streaks in a row to Quick Claw Explosion. But it's very difficult because you give up like if you I would have to protect like if I turn 1, I'm up against like say Steelix or Regirock. Like I need they survive an earthquake. So if I protect with Zapdos, like they stay alive. Normally I would double up like Regirock with Thunderbolt Earthquake dies. Same with Registeel. Steelix dies to Hidden Power Ice Earthquake. Fortress dies to Thunderbolt Earthquake if it's not Focus Band. But then they're at low HP, so the next turn, the chance they go for Explosion is way higher. They could still Quick Claw me. So then I have to switch into Gengar. So that's 2 turns in a row where one of my slots is doing nothing and Swampert is doing all the work. So if they have another Pokemon who's just dangerous for me, then I put myself in a horrible spot. So I can't really play around it too much. And yeah, it's a low chance that you die to Quick Claw Explosion. But when when you have long streaks, when you're going for long streaks, as long as you have a good team and you play well, you're always going to lose to something that is unlikely.
That's true.
Like
Yeah.
the 211 streak that I lost to Speed Tie Crit. Yeah, that's unlike. I mean, that's a 3% chance. That is like one of the more likely to happen losses that I've had. And that is like something that I now need to consider, like Zapdos, Speed Ties, 115s, Starmie, and Raikou. And it's actually could be an issue. Like here I lost because of that. So speed is important and I have to keep it in mind for whatever team I build next. All these things, like something that doesn't lose the Quick Claw Explosion, preferably.
So are you done then with this set of 4 Pokemon on a team, or is it just going to be like the next team's going to be like an adaptation or revision to this team?
I do want to build a new team in the future.
Like completely
Like
new?
I want to work on my next serious doubles team.
Mhm.
However, I'm still gonna go and make this on cartridge because before I played this streak on my modded 2DS, but I'm now, which basically plays the same as the cartridge. Like it's like my modded 2DS boots up into GBA mode the same way a DS would. Like I'm playing the way a DS works basically, so it's not save state, speed up, that sort
Mhm.
of thing. But I did have like an app that allowed me to edit the stats of Pokemon so I could get the good Pokemon I needed. And now I'm trying to do the same thing, but completely on cartridge, completely like how anyone would be able to get the team. So I want to get like one good streak at least with that team, like at least 200 wins, ideally 300 because I was so close. But as I've seen this week, like I think I am a lot better at playing now than I was when I got the streak originally. However, I've been struggling to get to 200, so we'll see if I get to 300 with this team. Maybe eventually, maybe not at all, but I'll be happy with a 200 streak on cartridge.
I'd be very happy too if I got anywhere close to that. Well, hopefully you
Yeah,
get it on the cart. I mean, I think you will, but obviously, yeah, you still gotta do it.
I'll
So
get it eventually.
yeah,
I am confident in the team. Like I know it's far from perfect, but I know it's strong, and I'll get it. Like I got it yesterday, and I got it before with 289, so I'll
hmm
get 200 again. But yeah, once you get a couple of these long streaks, like my Battle Tower singles streak is, I lost. I used my serious team until 203 wins, which was a Moltres, Skarmy, Blissey, Stall team, which was very slow. But the Moltres is an XD Pokemon, and getting good Pokemon from XD is really difficult. So I think I will not be using the team again. I want to beat my streak on cartridge, so I started experimenting with other teams. So I lost that one at 225, and open level I had one at 182, which was like just some less serious teams, but I still got pretty high. And then like I got 289 with this team in level 50, and I have a streak of 246 in open level with a dugong in doubles. So I've a bunch of high streaks. I got 100 battles won, not tournaments, in the dome doubles with Persian, and I got a bunch of other, like, not my records, long streaks. So yeah, my perspective on what is a good streak has really changed after like even the first long streak on what is good and what my new goals are. But for someone who hasn't gotten those streaks, or maybe only like got 100 once, like
It's an
that
accomplishment.
maybe kind of sounds insane. Like the things I consider to be good now or
Mhm.
consistent or whatever.
Trying to think if I have any other like questions about like the team itself, but I think soon if we want to start transitioning to like the second or like one of the next part of the podcast where we start kind of I want to dissect your thoughts about team building even farther, like probably for just like singles, but before we do that, like is there anything else we want to chat about with this team itself?
No, I think I've mentioned most of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to I think you did.
It's just doubles is just really fast paced. You just want to attack, attack,
Mhm.
attack. You want to be fast. I guess one of the weaknesses I didn't mention, or well, I did mention it in passing, but Swampert being so slow, like it is still pretty fast comparatively to the Pokemon in the frontier. I outspeed base 100 Pokemon that have no speed investment, which makes me pretty fast.
Mhm.
But there are still a lot of Pokemon that are faster, so that's definitely a big weakness. Just barely slower than like the Ladies, who have no speed investment, but they're base 110, and those are pretty powerful Pokemon. So that was like my next Pokemon. I definitely think I want to outspeed the Ladies always, but we'll see. There's some ideas I have for future teams, but that's for a different part. But yeah, I also wanted to move on to the next part of the podcast.
All right, well, I guess we'll transition into it. So I guess to recap, what do you call it? Kind of the first thing we chat about in the intro is like this part. We kind of want to, I guess, focus on the team building aspect, and I guess more specifically how you would go about team building with a Pokemon that maybe isn't as maybe meta, let's say, or like popular. I think that's where we wanted the conversation to go. Just is that right, or
Yes.
did you have a different idea?
No, that's pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about. Let's see. You want to do like less popular Pokemon first, or you want to do the team building in general first? Like
Maybe
for
team building in general, because I think like the less popular probably has a little bit more. It's probably built on the same principles, you know, but it's just a little bit more like focused on like what the other
yeah.
Pokemon lack. So yeah.
Right. So we'll start with how I go about team building for like a in general, but also for longer streaks. For team building, it depends on what your goal is for the team. Like if I want a team to get 70 wins, that's very different from 300 wins. Like what might be my goal next, let's say. So there's very different criteria for the team, because 70 wins, that means you have to win 3 rounds at maximum difficulty. That's not that much. That's very doable. Even if your team is not super consistent, like you might not get it first try, but if you keep at it, you'll get there eventually if you have like a decently strong team. So yeah, there's also another thing to consider. You can build like specifically for singles, and my team building, I have mostly played the tower. So something for some facilities, like you have to make specific changes. But like, let's for now, it will mostly be about a 3v3 in the tower
Mm-hmm. I feel
or
that's what
something
most people
comparable.
probably the tower and like the dome is what I'm guessing most people will spend their most of their time in.
Yeah, but for the dome, you could make some very different
Yeah, true.
team building choices. I think the dome is very interesting because of that. And it would also, like, if you're new to the frontier, I would highly recommend that the dome is one of your first places you visit because it's just easier. Like the Pokemon, due to a bug, they are weaker. They have worse stats. Like their stats never improve no matter in which round you are. Except for Tucker, he has the stats he's supposed to have. Like compared to the tower, every round the stats of the Pokemon improve. And like normal, like you'll start against, let's say, a Caterpie in round one. Like nobody cares if it's perfect Caterpie or not. Like not that there is a
I
perfect
care.
Caterpie, but like it doesn't matter. But like when you get to the Latioses and stuff, they'll have perfect IVs. But in the dome, they still have the worst IVs. So they're easier in that way. And also like you get to see the opponent's team beforehand and pick which Pokemon from your team counter. So even if you have like some really bad matchups, you can kind of play around it, or at least try to. So I would definitely recommend the dome as your first place to go to if you're new. And of course, factory is something most people will recommend, or it's common recommendation because you don't need a team and you'll learn about the sets that you'll face because you face the sets everywhere. Every facility uses the same Pokemon. But yeah, not everyone likes the facility. And I would say uh play like we're here to enjoy ourselves, right? Yeah, sure, it will be a struggle and it will be frustrating to lose to like a 1 in 1,000% chance to lose and whatever. But generally, we want to have fun.
Yep.
And like I've been playing for 6 months, and like most of the time has been in the tower because I really enjoyed the team building for the tower. So I would say play what you do what you enjoy. Like if you don't enjoy one facility, like the palace, most people hate the palace. Like maybe don't do the palace unless you really want all the gold
Uh-huh.
symbols, which is understandable. Like, but yeah, do what you enjoy. But yeah, getting a bit sidetracked. You could build like a super consistent team, like the stall team I had. Like I mentioned, sometimes a round took like 2 hours for me to finish. But I wouldn't lose a Pokemon in any battle. Like they would all stay alive, all 7 battles. Super consistent. Like I wasn't even that good with the team at the time. Like only in the last round I played, I learned like an important mechanic for my for that team, which most of the time you won't run into when you play like a more normal team. But for the people who may use a pressure Pokemon at some point or just want to use stall at some point, when your opponent runs out of PP on their strongest attack versus your Pokemon, they will then randomly select an attacking move if they're attacking you. So they could have like two moves that are like one will hit you for 90%, the other will hit you for 80, and then the third one will hit you for 10%. And they can then, if they're out of the strongest move, they can randomly select the move that will do 10% damage. So that makes it a bit weird.
That is weird.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's important information or good to know if you're ever
Mm-hmm.
stalling someone out. Because if you want to like switch around, you want to do some switch stalling, and suddenly select a move that was super bad against the Pokemon you had in, but really good against the Pokemon you're switching in, like that could be an issue. But yeah, you could build a team like that that is super consistent but super slow, and you wouldn't lose if you played correctly, or maybe you got like a 1 in 1,000 RNG thing happen to you. Or you can build a team and it's like normal speed. You beat a round in like 30, 40 minutes, maybe even less. But there's a higher chance you lose either to a bad matchup or like some a lot more likely RNG, like a single crit in a bad situation and you lose, which is not that uncommon. Like you need to decide like what do I want to play, and then you want to build a team that works for that.
Like more like the play style itself.
Yeah. Like, do you accept like, okay, I have a higher risk of losing, but I really do not want to play this super stally 2 hour long round, which
Mm-hmm.
I assume most people wouldn't want to play, and I completely understand because like I played doubles for like the last month, and then I lost my streak on stream, and I thought, okay, I'll play one round with this fun Dustclops Mantine Steelix team that I have lying around, and it was super slow. I was like, oh, I forgot how slow this was.
Yeah, at least for me, I want to go in there and just hit things in the face. I feel like a good amount of people are in the same boat, but also like
Yeah,
the same,
I
like,
would assume most people,
yeah.
most like the average player, just wants to have three strong Pokemon and attack. Like it will be a little bit more complicated, but you want to play a bit more offensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say you make that decision, and then we start from there. Okay, so some things to consider. Um, we want if we want a long streak, we want consistency, and that goes for a lot of things. So one of the things, items. The best items, I mean, generally considered, the top three would probably be Leftovers, Choice Band, Lumberry. I think many teams use those three items.
Mm-hmm.
They may not always fit your team. Like Choice Band might not fit your Pokemon. Leftovers, if you have like three really offensive Pokemon, yeah, Leftovers isn't that good. But generally, like those three items are the best. So you probably want to use some of them, and Lumberry just fits everywhere pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And these items are consistent. You always get your damage boost, assuming you're not using a special attack. You always get Leftovers healing. And Lumberry always protects you from one status. And then to extend this list, Cherry Berry, great item. Heals paralysis. There's a lot of Pokemon spamming Thunder Wave if you are faster. So if you don't have a defensive Pokemon that wants the leftovers, Cherry Berry would be my recommendation. Chesto Berry gets rid of sleep. Really good in combination with the Pokemon that has rest. So there's another fantastic item. And then special mention, this one's more niche. If you have an Ice Weak Pokemon, like let's say you have Elite Salamence, lead on Intimidate, strong Pokemon, great. However, you don't want to get hit by an Ice Beam. So you're going to switch in, let's say, your Metagross. But 10% of the time, you're going to be frozen. And in a long streak, that's going to happen a lot. So Espear Berry protects you from being frozen. Like maybe not the best item on a Metagross, but on some Pokemon, this is worth considering. Especially maybe in doubles where you need a fourth Pokemon, so you also need a fourth item. Like a Spare Berry could be really good. And to expand upon freeze and also other statuses, if you have to keep switching into something, like the same thing with, let's say you have Gyarados lead, you need to switch into electric moves or let Gyarados die. You need to keep in mind if you don't have a ground type who's immune, like you're switching a grass type or something, you're going to get paralyzed. So maybe that Cherry Berry goes on your grass type or the Lumberry does, something like that. So keep that in
Mm-hmm.
mind that if you're weak to ice, fire, electric, to a lesser extent poison, and you're switching in with a Pokemon who isn't immune, you're going to get hit with that status at some point. So you need to be prepared for it. And then on the other side, inconsistency is bad. So inconsistent items are bad. Scope Lens, Focus Band, Bright Powder, Quick Claw, fantastic items if you're the AI and you only need them to happen once. Because like the AI, like they need you to lose one time. We need them to lose 70
Mm-hmm.
times, 100 times, 300 times. So we cannot rely on an item that activates 10% of the time, 20% of the time. The only maybe like exception, if you have like a super tanky Pokemon like a Blissey, like sure, you're gonna tank like 20 attacks, 30 attacks in a battle. Bright Powder could maybe Like it's gonna get some dodges, but does it really matter on Blissey when you can tank those hits anyway? So do you really need it? I don't know. So that's maybe the
Mm-hmm.
exception.
Because one thought I'm thinking is, like, I definitely agree with that consistency part. Like, if you're going for these very high rounds, like, you need to know that, like, your item is gonna work, because you will be put in that after that large amount of time and amount of battles, you will be put in that situation. So you make sure the team handles it. But I'm wondering if, like, does your point of view change if, let's say, you only want to get like a gold symbol, like, let's say, in the tower? Is then do you see arguments that you can make where it's like quick claw is maybe good, or like those other items are less consistent for like people to put on their Pokemon, or would you still recommend, even for those like not super high streaks, to still have like the same mentality with that consistency, like with the consistent items?
I would personally still go for consistency
Mm-hmm.
because, like, knowing that you can always rely on this item, you know what's going to happen, you know you're immune to a status or whatever. It is really high value. It allows you to play in certain ways. And like you can, I think it's maybe kind of a trap sometimes as well. If you use like a quick claw, you're like, okay, if I just quick claw here, I win. And then you don't get the quick claw, your Pokemon dies. And
You
yeah,
like bait you.
it kind of baits you maybe, or you feel like more unlucky or whatever, or you just want to play more risky. I wouldn't recommend it. Of course, you can use it and you can win with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's up to you, but I wouldn't recommend it if you want a more consistent team. Even if you're using like inconsistent Pokemon, you still want to make things as consistent as possible. Would be my recommendation. But play however you want, of course. Something else to avoid: try to avoid doubling up on weaknesses as much as possible. You can't always, or in some weaknesses aren't as important. And not only like avoid doubling up on weaknesses, but try to have resistances for your weaknesses, or at least the important weaknesses. Some weaknesses don't really matter that much. Like a weakness to ghost, let's say. There's not really strong stab ghost attackers. Like, sure, there's a physical Gengar. Gengar has what, 65 base attack? That's still not very strong. Like, it will hit your Gardevoir really hard, but it won't hit like your physical wall. That
Mm-hmm.
is, let's say, a Rhydon who doesn't resist it. Like, Rhydon doesn't care.
It's like a
But so
weakness, but
some,
it's not like worth building around, or
yeah,
like.
some weaknesses are a little bit fake. Like, just say bug types. Like, yeah, there's a strong Heracross with Megahorn. Yeah, Sword Stance Scissor will hit you hard, but like most bug types don't have a bug move, so bug weakness is kind of fake. It's not.
Fake news.
It's a fake weakness most of the time. So yeah, you need something for that Heracross and that Scissor maybe, but otherwise you don't really care about your bug weakness. So yeah, but like doubling up on weaknesses, try to avoid it. But like my singles team had Skarmory, Moltres, double electric weakness, but Blissey just didn't care. So I didn't care. And also, we still like electric types. A bunch of them are faster than my Moltres, but many of them aren't, and I can just PP stall them with pressure. But yeah, you either don't double up, or you make sure that you have a really good way of dealing with it. And also, like if you're um, double weak to something and you have only one resistance, if you lead with that resistance and like you don't run into the weakness, or you take it, you face like, let's say there was an electric type, and I have Blissey in the lead, and I beat that electric type, and then the next Pokemon is an electric type. Blissey dies, and then the last Pokemon is an electric type. It's Raikou. Oh, now I'm screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that if you have that double weakness, you keep your resistance alive.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not just enough to have an answer, you need to keep that answer around. And then another thing, speed tiers. You want to outspeed certain Pokemon. Like it's really useful to look up how fast are Pokemon that I'm afraid of. For example, my Blissey on my stall team was nearly max speed, which would you expect max speed on Blissey?
No, I wouldn't even. I don't even know if I'd consider putting that on. But let me hear your reasoning.
So with I think it was 244 speed EVs, I
Mhm.
outspeed Nidoking. And Nidoking has Horn Drill, and I have Substitute on Blissey. So I can set up the Substitute before it Horn Drills me. Worst case scenario. Like I have a Skarmory, but there is special Nidoking with like Thunder, I think, Fire Blast, maybe some of those moves. Like it's risky sometimes, or like there's some other situation. Like I outspeed basically every like maybe there's Pinsir or something, but Pinsir doesn't show up that much, and Skarmory doesn't care about Pinsir. So yeah, I use that speed tier to outspeed basically every Oko move Pokemon, and I don't think it ever really mattered for specifically Horndrill Nidoking. But I knew, or maybe it came up once, but I knew that I had the answer there in substituting before they Horndrill me. Now there is like Quick Claw as well on Nidoking. I don't know for sure if that's on the special one or a different one. I can check. No, it's not on the special one. So then I know for sure that if I'm up against special Nidoking, I could outspeed it with Blissey. Now I could also outspeed it with Moltres, but like maybe something happens to Moltres. Who knows? So you want to check for certain Pokemon. Like maybe you don't know what all the movesets. Like I have a document with all the movesets,
Mhm.
all the speed tiers. So I know I can look up things, and I look up things a lot when I'm team building, mostly the speed. But like even if you don't have that, you can just and you don't want to, which is understandable if you don't want to look up stats, but you can still look at the base stats of other Pokemon. And if you are slower, you can get some speed investment and outspeed those Pokemon even with higher base stats because most of them or a lot of them do not have speed investment. Of course, that's not always true, and a lot of them don't have a plus speed nature. So if you can, like for example, Moltres base 90 speed, if you have a plus speed nature, you can outspeed, I think, every base 100 speed Pokemon because I don't think any of them have a plus speed nature.
Yeah, like that 10% boost, especially with some EVs and such, really does add up.
Yeah. So yeah, you want to think about speed. Another thing that's very important, and that came up in the doubles team, you need a way to beat setup Pokemon.
Mhm.
And that can be Curse Snorlax, or it can be double team Snorlax or double team anything else. Like you
Oh,
need a way to
awful.
deal with that. It is so awful. Like I lost my first streak with the Moltres team against Chansey of all things, a not fully evolved Pokemon, because like my Skarmory died to a Quick Claw. Was like, and Skarmory is like my way of dealing with setup Pokemon because I have Whirlwind to roar them out. I was like, oh, this trainer doesn't have any really dangerous Pokemon. I think I'll be fine. Last Pokemon, Chansey, it sets up double teams, and I just didn't hit my attacks enough times. It had leftovers. My Moltres had leftovers. I was stuck in battle for over 24 hours. I got it
What?
down to 20% at some point, and then I just like I gave up. I forfeited the match because I just technically I would eventually win, but like it could just take 100 years for me to win that battle.
That's not
I mean,
worth
my
it.
my my game would die before I win, maybe. So you need to think of a way, and then again, you need to keep that way of dealing with that type of Pokemon. You need to keep it alive until you know for sure, like that this Pokemon is not around. I don't have to worry. So yeah, think about how do you beat double team? Like you could add toxic, but then there's also double team Registeel. How do you beat the Registeel? You could have Parasong.
I got like a unique question, at least from me, because this is how I'm thinking right now. Is Like I got Pokemon that are already have that I want to use on a team that have overlapping weaknesses that definitely are optimal. But I guess from your opinion or thoughts, how what's a way that you would consider making this team that you know from the start is not optimal? Or is it kind of just something that's kind of not doomed to fail, but you're only going to get so far and so lucky with a team like that in the frontier?
I mean, you are only gonna get so far, but like it depends on your goal. Gold can still be achievable. 100 wins might still be achievable. What I would do is I try to find either a Pokemon, or if you already have the Pokemon, try to find within those Pokemon something where I can specifically build them to counter my worst weakness. Even if it's still not maybe the best counter, I try my best.
Hmm.
And you might end up with a really weird move set for that Pokemon compared to normal. But at least like you just need it to beat that one specific thing. So even if
Hmm.
it's almost useless against the Pokemon it normally beats, like if you the rest of your team already beat those Pokemon, like you don't need another like a third Pokemon to beat the same Pokemon the rest of the team
Yeah.
already beats. You can make it very specific. Like let's say you have a Tyranitar and a Flygon. You could put flamethrower on your Flygon because you're afraid of Skarmory or something. When normally you might not put flamethrower on Flygon because maybe you would because Flygon doesn't have that many attacking options. But like it's not the best. But to beat a Skarmory, it's really good. To beat like Scizor Fortress, it could also be really good. Like it would be helpful against some things. It's maybe not the weirdest example, but like that's the sort of
Hmm.
thing I would try to look for.
Like one or two moves you could put on the Pokemon, or even again the whole set just to combat like either a general weakness or like specific Pokemon weaknesses. Because I mean, yeah, eventually you're gonna see it, and like I know for a lot of like my teams, I build like a Suicune with like I guess really any Suicune is like an almost an auto loss. It's just like we're done. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Suicune is tough. It's definitely rough.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you have to think what is my best way of beating this. I remember when I was using Zachary's team in the dome, I would build Pokemon very specifically. Like I was switching out like a single Pokemon on variations that I think would be good for winning gold. And at one point I added a Gligar, and the Gligar, of course, immune to Earthquake, resists fighting, and then because there's Machamp with Ice Punch, I think I gave it like max special defense, and then it would exactly survive Cross Chop into Ice Punch because of that investment. And it's not necessarily like a move, but it's very specific EVs. And it actually did come up, I'm pretty sure.
And I guess those who don't know real quick, Zachary's team was a sandstorm focused team, so I think it had Tyranitar, like Flygon, and Cacturne, all Pokemon that just do kind of well supported like a weather based team. And then BVreeze did a pretty big deep dive into this team, and then did a bunch of iterations of it. And then yeah, Gligar was one of the Pokemon on the team. I remember watching the video, being like, Gligar, I like it, but I don't know if I understand it at this moment. Let me investigate further.
You would never think about Gligar
No.
normally, but it was just specifically because in the dome, the stats of the opponent's Pokemon are worse. And we have the perfect typing. Like we
Hmm.
just barely lived the Machamp matchup, and we're also just like good into other bad matchups. So it worked. And also we had Sandvale, which was fun.
If only
Yeah, but
Gliscor was in
also
this game.
unfortunately not. That would be really strong, I think. Especially no, I guess I was gonna say especially if it's like the Gen 5 poison heal. I think that's
Ooh.
Gen 5 when it gets it.
Yeah, I don't think
But
Gen
there's no
4.
Toxicarp, so we also would need Toxicarp, I guess. But yeah, that would be insane. But yeah, even Gligar can put in work on the right team just because it dealt with the weaknesses of Tyranitar, or at least some of them. So yeah, let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, wanted to talk about some moves. not every Pokemon that can have some of the moves I'm gonna mention, but some really good moves. Protect. If you have leftovers, it just gives you a turn to heal for free. At least assuming you don't protect on a Pokemon like Scizor that's gonna Swords Dance, or an Espeon that's gonna Calm Mind or something. Like you can get a free turn. You can scout which move the opponent is going for. Like even if you're in like they switch in, like you beat their first Pokemon, they switch in something that counters you. You can protect, you see which move they use. Like if you are low health, they could switch moves because multiple moves will see the kill. But like if you have a bit of knowledge about which sets exist for a certain Pokemon, and maybe you know, okay, it's this set of this Pokemon. So I want to switch in this Pokemon or whatever. Like you can get information. Another really good move with similar purpose, Substitute. In my opinion, the best singles move, I think. Like it is so good. Substitute, the AI doesn't understand what it does. So like you sacrifice 25% of your HP, you make a copy of yourself, let's say the substitute, and that one can take a hit for you, or multiple if the opponent doesn't deal much damage. But it also absorbs status moves. And against Pokemon that have Thunder Wave and are slower, they're very, very likely to click Thunder Wave. If you set up that substitute, you're now immune to Thunder Wave. So they'll keep Thunder Waving. It's not guaranteed they'll Thunder Wave every turn, but it's very likely they'll Thunder Wave a lot. So you just get a lot of free turns to set up or attack them or whatever you want to do. So it's great. It also protects you from Oko moves. Like the substitute will go down. There is a specific bug where it doesn't go down. Like if you are 1 HP, the Oko move does exactly your HP in terms of damage, and the substitute is 25% of your HP. So if you're lower HP than the substitute has HP, the substitute doesn't die to the Oko move, but that doesn't come up that often. But it does sometimes. Like for a while, I was very confused when sometimes I wasn't paying attention and I see or I hear like the Oko move. And like, wait, I still have my substitute, but I'm pretty
That is
sure
weird. I've never encountered
the
that
Oko
before.
move hit me, right? That's why that happens. So yeah, it is really strong, but it doesn't fit on every Pokemon, and also it requires a move tutor for most Pokemon to learn. So it's difficult to get, or it takes some effort. But those are some defensive moves that are really good, depending on your Pokemon and the team. Then some really good moves for hitting, like making sure you always take care of a Pokemon, like Aerial Ace, guaranteed to hit. So that's great against double team. A great option for something like a Salamence if you want to set up a Dragon Dance Salamence. Like, well, most people don't have access to Hidden Power Fly, but Hidden Power Fly is more power, like it's 70 base power if you have the perfect Hidden Power Fly, compared to Aerial Ace's 60. But knowing that you will never miss, like it's not just double team. There's a lot of Pokemon with Bright Powder, which is just a 10% chance to miss, or even Pokemon with Lex Incense, which is only a 5% chance to miss, but it happens. Like knowing you're always going to hit gives you so much freedom. And then other moves, like I've mentioned Perish Song. Perish Song doesn't care. Like only if you're soundproof, which there are a couple of Pokemon, Exploud, Mr. Mime, Electrode. Electrode is a 50-50. The other two are guaranteed, I think. They could have soundproof, which makes them immune, but every other Pokemon, they'll die in 3 turns or they'll have to switch. And you can use Mean Look or Shadow Tag, Arena Trap. I mean, I maybe wouldn't recommend Ductrio as a trapper, but it's possible. You can trap them, or it's just the last Pokemon. Or like they're forced to switch out. Next Pokemon comes in, you KO that Pokemon, and now they are the last Pokemon, so now you can Perish Song again. That can take care of boosters. And my personal favorite, Ghost type Curse. I love that move. It is
Such
insanely
a good
strong.
move.
Nobody is immune to it. It doesn't care about accuracy. It does 25% damage every turn. The only thing that blocks it is a substitute. So there are a couple of Pokemon in the frontier that can use substitute, but it's a pretty rare move.
Hmm.
And it's not guaranteed, like it's even unlikely to be clicked turn one. So if you just curse immediately, or at least in a few turns' time, it's still likely to go off before they set up the substitute. So yeah, curse is what has made Dusclops one of my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, I love Dusclops too, but when I tried that curse build on it, that was so fun and like made me love the Pokemon even more.
Yeah, it is insanely strong. Like I have 1v3'd so many teams with just Dusclops setting up curse, and I had protect, substitute, rest,
Hmm.
and I've been spreading the Dusclops propaganda, and it is
We need
a
a
couple
video.
of people have started using it, and I'll probably make a video about it at some point. But yeah, it is insanely good for taking care of anything. Similarly, but not as consistent, toxic. I also mentioned before, like, yeah, let's say they have +6 evasion. You don't have a high chance of hitting, but you only need to hit once, unless it's a rest set. But you could stall them out of rest first, maybe. Like
Hmm.
it's one of the moves that can help you beat those Pokemon. And then, lastly, for moves, you don't want to rely on moves that have a chance to miss. Mega Horn, Meteor Mash, Rock Slide. Yeah, they seem
I love,
good.
I love the Meteor Mash stuff. I definitely understand like objectively the rationale behind that.
I'm a certified Metagross hater, or at least a Meteor Mash hater. And I think without Meteor Mash, Metagross is a lot worse. So that kind of makes me a Metagross hater. I have used Metagross before, and I think it can be good. I mean, it's still a strong Pokemon. I just think it's for like it has a great typing, it has a great ability, it has some great stats, but even though all those things are really good, combined they're somehow not that great, in my opinion. Like it's for a super long streak, Metagross is often not that
Hmm.
great, or at least not with the Meteor Mash. But it's still a very powerful Pokemon. You can easily get 70 wins. You can get 100 wins. You can get multiple 100 wins. But compared to some other Pokemon, it's not the best. Maybe, although I am like gonna look into it more for doubles because it is one of the few Pokemon that's both like usable and doesn't die to Quick Claw Explosion. So maybe it'll end up on one of my doubles teams. Like it also has Explosion, which is a good move for doubles, but risky. I've used it in singles as well with like Shadow Ball, Earthquake, Endure, Select Explosion, just to avoid having to use Meteor Mash. Like it performed, but yeah, on a long streak, you're going to miss, and maybe you're going. Not every miss is going to matter, but there's gonna be that miss or a bunch of those misses that are gonna lose you the game. And also something that I've seen a lot with people using Metagross, like, well, I could kill this Pokemon. I like their choice band, and like I could kill this Pokemon with Meteor Mash, but then I'm locked into Meteor Mash, which could miss against the next Pokemon. So now I'm gonna kill it with this other move, and then Meteor Mash is by far your strongest move. But if you don't want to click it, like it's not your best move. If you don't want to use the move, right?
I'd say that's yeah, a fair statement. I think at least for me, like obviously, like, so I guess people maybe who haven't got watched every single video we ever made, but I love the Meteor Mash Metagross. I just feel like it's very fun. Does a lot of damage, but also I haven't gotten that high of streaks, and I've definitely missed in situations where it really mattered, especially missing like 3 times in a row against a Pokemon that had no accuracy, like or I wasn't reducing accuracy, and they were like no bright powder or anything. So it's like you're gonna get those situations, especially on a very high streak, and you kind of just lose. You're almost putting yourself in a situation, yeah, where you will lose matches
Yeah,
because you're picking this move. But again,
you're
it's powerful.
you're turning situations where you could guaranteed win into
Yeah.
situations where you have a chance to lose. And you want to avoid that as much as possible. Of course, Meteor Mash, Metagross is still very powerful. If you want to use it, go ahead. Just know that you're eventually gonna
Limitations,
lose
yeah.
to it, and that you could, like, if you think about it, you could just avoid it. But
Yeah.
I mean, if it's difficult. Like, if you want to use a Heracross, like you would need like hidden power bug, and hidden powers are difficult to get. Like, I wish Heracross was like more consistent. It's a cool Pokemon, but Megahorn is not a good move
It's like 80%
unless you get
accuracy or
lucky. 85 accuracy, I
okay.
think. Yeah, and then Rock Slide is 90% accuracy. I mean, didn't you lose your pyramid streak to missing Rock Slide?
Yeah, it had bright powder though.
Okay, okay. But then,
Still, it
like,
doesn't matter. It's
maybe,
still yeah,
maybe if you had 100% accuracy, you would have hit. Like,
maybe.
you make your chances better. But yeah, it seems like a good move, at least in singles.
Mhm.
Like in doubles, it doesn't do that much damage, and like the flinch chance is whatever. You can't rely on it. Like, you deal a lot of damage, you have a chance to flinch. It's really good, but if you miss and you lose because of the miss, like, yeah, that wasn't
Doesn't
great.
feel good, definitely.
So yeah, then the next thing, abilities, very important to think about. If you have a strong team, you play well, like I said earlier, what you're gonna lose to is bad luck. So how can you avoid bad luck? Well, one of the most important abilities, in my opinion, sturdy.
I love
Immunity to
sturdy.
Oko moves. 30% chance to lose your Pokemon? Gone. Quick Claw, like, even if you, I would say, even if you could kill every Pokemon, but have you, if you've ever done a damage calculation against bulky Lapras, you would know that thing is unkillable.
It is so tanky, yeah.
And one of them has Quick Claw. Walrein has Quick Claw, is also very bulky, a little bit less, but still almost unkillable in one shot. And there's a bunch of other Quick Claw users. Sturdy protects you. So, very worth considering if you want a more consistent streak. If you can't, get sturdy, because like there's not that many Pokemon with sturdy, and out of those Pokemon with sturdy, a lot of them aren't that good, or at least they aren't that good into the matchup against Pokemon that have Oko moves, because like Walrein, uh, there's an Oko set with Surf. You have a Steelix, well, good luck tanking Surf. So that's not the best. So either you need like, the default is Skarmory. Skarmory is amazing. Has a decent matchup at least. If you invest in special defense into most of them, like Walrein 4 is full special attack. That's kind of a struggle. But you at least have a decent matchup. You don't instantly die. But otherwise, you need like some other Pokemon to help your sturdy Pokemon. Uh, Another ability that is really good against Oko moves is Pressure.
Mhm.
Because Pressure, Oko moves only have 5 PP. There's no PP ups on the Pokemon in the Frontier. So they all have 5 PP on their Oko moves. Pressure doubles the cost in PP. So you only have to tank 3 of them. If you combine that with Protect and or Substitute, like, they run out of PP very fast. And like I mentioned before, the Substitute protects you. So let's say like Protect protects you for one turn. The Substitute, if they miss, protects you for multiple turns. If you set up a Substitute and they miss, and like the next turn it's a Quick Claw, like, you were protected from the Quick Claw. Of course, like, it's not perfect, but you want to minimize the chances of dying to this Oko move and this Quick Claw. So Pressure Substitute could be really good. I've used Dusclops a lot myself, and of course, Dusclops is very slow, so we're not as good of a counter, because if we set up a Substitute, we're slower, so we have to dodge at least one. But it's still useful. Like, it increases your chances of survival. And then another way of increasing your chances of survival, which is not an ability, it's typing. Only sheer cold cannot be resisted, or like, you cannot be immune to sheer cold. Later generation, I think generation 7, ice type becomes immune to sheer cold, but that's not a thing yet. Like, the most perfect example, like Mischievous and Gengar, levitate Ghost. They're immune to Hornrill, they're immune to Fissure, they're immune to Guillotine. Only sheer cold can hit them. So you can protect yourself in that way as well. minimize your risks.
Pressure is like one of my favorite moves in the pressure protect, especially because Dusclops has it. But such a good
Yeah,
combination of moves and or the move with the ability.
it is very strong. And what I like about Dusclops is that, yeah, sure, you're slower, but if you like have a substitute, they attack you first. You set up that substitute. Like you just need to live that one time, and then now if they have a quick claw, like you don't care. You were already slower, so that's the thing that other if you're stalling with substitute with other Pokemon and they have quick claw, it's sometimes really scary because they take down your substitute, and then the next turn, if they quick claw you, you might die. But if they don't, you live. And they're like, okay, can I substitute? Do I risk this? Do I have to switch? Can I even switch? You in a perfect situation with Dusclops, like they take down your substitute, the same turn you set it up again, and they never have a chance to hit you. Of course, you're gonna run out of HP against certain Pokemon. It doesn't work every time. But in a lot of situations, it's nice because you don't worry about Quick Claw as much. All right, so another thing to consider for your streaks, do you want to go in at level 50? Or do you want to go in at open level, level 60 or level 100 or some other level? And for level 50, there's two things you want to consider for why you would want to go level 50. The first is the lower the level of your Pokemon and the opponent's Pokemon, the more damage you deal and take. So at level 100, you take a couple percent less damage at like a high damage roll. Let's say it changes from 50 to 48% or something.
Hmm.
I don't know the exact numbers, but you take slightly less damage at higher levels. And that means at lower levels, you deal slightly more damage and take slightly more. And this can be important because like I used level 50 for my doubles team because that gave me some better damage rolls. I had a higher chance to kill certain Pokemon. Like they went from not guaranteed to guaranteed kills, stuff like that. So that's something to consider. And also, in open level, there are a few Pokemon that don't show up in level 50, and mainly that's Tyranitar and Dragonite. And the most important one is Tyranitar because it sets up permanent sand damage. And if you have a Stally team that is not immune to sand, you're not gonna like open level if you run into Tyranitar lead. Like that's really bad for your team. And the only way to get rid of it is to set up your own weather. Like use Sunny Day. After 5 turns, Sunny Day will be gone and the sand won't come back unless that Tyranitar switches in again. So that is something to consider. And then at open level, you could go level 60 for that, still having pretty high damage rolls. Like it's slightly less damage. Like for example, I know this one calculation. Modest Latios, max special attack. There is one damage roll from Psychic that doesn't kill Machamp with max HV in level 50.
Hmm.
At level 60, there are 2 damage rolls that don't kill that Machamp. And then at level 100, I don't know, it's more. There are more that don't kill. And a damage roll, when someone attacks you, there are 16 damage rolls and one is randomly selected. So at level 60, you have a lower chance of beating the Machamp. And at 100, it's even lower. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was going on in the background, like with the small damage variations, like even
Yeah,
with the
there's a lot of
percentages.
things. So yeah, that's maybe a reason. Like I want to be level 50 because then I guarantee kill this Pokemon, or I want to be level 100 because then I guarantee survive this attack from this Pokemon. These are things to consider, and also there's some slight like stat changes. For example, my Zapdos at max speed at level 50 and at level 60, I speed tie Starmie with plus speed nature max speed. And Starmie is always neutral and either has speed investment or doesn't. Like the speed investment, I speed tie. But at level 100, Starmie is 1 point faster. And also like a bunch of other random levels. Like one level it will be a speed tie, the other one it's one faster, and then it's a speed tie again. And then at 100, it's Zapdos is slower always. So that's something that you could also keep in mind. And sometimes, because of plus or minus speed nature, a Pokemon will outspeed you at 100 or won't, but it will at 50 or it won't or something. I think there are some minor chances where you outspeed. I also think like depending on your IVs, because I was hunting for a Moltres. I was like, if I get 27 speed IV, I can outspeed base 100s at level 50. But if I get 26, it will be a speed tie, but at level 100, I will outspeed again because I have a plus speed nature. Or probably a little bit earlier than level 100, but at level 100, I would outspeed. So yeah, it can sometimes matter for things like that. Specifically for singles, like I mentioned before, like the most powerful, most successful strategies that I know, they're either you're fully stalling out your each Pokemon, which is what my Moltres team was doing, or you are like stalling out or weakening the lead Pokemon, and then like you have two Pokemon dedicated to stalling out or weakening that lead Pokemon, and then you have a third Pokemon who sets up. It's like Dragon Dance Salamence or it's Calm Mind Latios, and then sweeps the entire enemy team on its own after the help it got on the first Pokemon. Those are the most successful strategies. Those are not the strategies the average player will use. Like you'll probably have
Yeah.
like three kind of strong Pokemon, and together they hopefully beat whatever it is. And if you have good synergy, that can work really well. You can get like a couple hundred wins with that strategy. It will be difficult to get like 300 wins, but it is possible. Like 200 is more reasonable. 200 is very achievable with just strong Pokemon attacking and maybe like one defensive Pokemon to help you out. But yeah, that's very good for singles. And then for doubles, like I mentioned, stalling isn't consistent in doubles. So if you're interested in doubles, you want to build a really offensive team. So that's, I think, more what an average player would do anyway. So I think a long streak in doubles is maybe more achievable for a more like for the average player. And also like my experience, if you don't know the sets of all the Pokemon, what their stats are, their moves are, in doubles that doesn't matter as much as in singles because a lot of the time you just kill them before they do anything. So it doesn't matter as much. Like you just want to attack, use strong moves, and
Hmm.
I mean it's more complicated than that. But in doubles, that is really a good strategy. And there are other strategies like you can have a very low Ninjask, low level Ninjask in open level. Like I think it's level 71 or something, with like no like lowest possible defensive stats. Turn one, you protect. Both of your opponents see the kill on the Ninjask. Turn two, you got a speed boost. Now you outspeed every Pokemon, even though you were level 71. And now you can go for Substitute or you can go for Dig. They'll try to kill you again, but you were faster, so they fail. And your other Pokemon is just free to do whatever it wants as long as they don't see the kill on that Pokemon. So that's a very different strategy, but still, like the other Pokemon is going to want to be offensive. Like the rest of the team is going to be offensive. There's some interesting strategies for doubles, but yeah, offensive is really good. All right, shall we talk about using Pokemon that maybe aren't the best?
Yeah, I guess maybe summarize it like at a higher level, or like, 'cause I mean, I feel like you kind of described, we went into detail on how to do it like generally, but I mean, there's obviously going to be probably things that apply differently to this situation, but yeah, maybe like just generalize it a little bit.
Yeah, so I think there are two approaches to using Pokemon that are weaker than like a Pokemon that already like does the same thing.
Hmm.
So I have an example here. Let's say we want to use Vileplume, and we could use Vileplume, same typing as Venusaur, worse stats. So we could use, let's say you have a stall Venusaur with double team, leech seed, toxic, protect. You could make a Vileplume that is similar. Leech seed is a little bit difficult because Leech Seed for Vileplume was an event move in Gen 3. So it's technically a possible move. You could give it through the Pike glitch or some other method, but like, let's assume you don't. Like, you can use Ingrain or something, or a different move. Like, Ingrain will still heal you. We would be doing the same thing as Venusaur, but we would just be worse because we have worse stats. However, Vileplume has some things that Venusaur does not have. Vileplume has Chlorophyll, so even though we're really slow, if we have Sun Up and we have Speed Investment, we can outspeed. Like, we have the same special attack. We can use Solar Beam and outspeed things and do a lot of damage, maybe, or do another damage with another move. We also get Aromatherapy, which is not a very common move, and it heals status on your entire team. Can be very useful, especially some place like the Pike or the Pyramid. Like, that is something that Venusaur cannot do. So I prefer to find what a Pokemon can do that another Pokemon doesn't already do. Like, you could
Mm-hmm.
make the stall Vileplume if you really like Vileplume. Like, there's nothing stopping you, but you could just use Venusaur. So I like using moves that other Pokemon don't get, or a combination of other things. So I have some other examples of Pokemon that I have used. I used a Ninetales in singles to get, I think, 130 wins before I lost the streak. And I had the Ninetales on one of those two Pokemon, weakened elite Pokemon, and the last Pokemon sets up type of teams. And why did I pick Ninetales? I mean, I wanted to use Ninetales. That's why I picked it. But what does Ninetales do that other Pokemon do not have? So Ninetales is the only Pokemon that has the combination of Charm, which lowers attack stat by 2 stages, and Grudge, which, if you use Grudge and you die, the opponent loses all their PP on the move that killed. And I had a lead Grumpig who tricked Choice Band onto the Pokemon. Then I go into Ninetales. Ninetales lowers their attack as much as possible, uses Grudge, so they don't have any PP left. I mean, sometimes I didn't even need to use Grudge, but that's the idea. I use Grudge. They run out of
Mm-hmm.
PP. They're forced to struggle, which is a physical move. They are minus whatever, ideally minus 6 attack. And I switch into Latios. And Latios sets up the +6 and sweeps. Because of Charm Grudge, Ninetales is good at this. I mean, just a fast Charm is already enough in a lot of situations. But like the speed, decent bulk, Charm, and Grudge was something that Ninetales had that made it useful. Tangela,
That's
oh
definitely
yeah,
an interesting strategy.
yeah.
Yeah.
You want to build a strategy around the traits of this Pokemon. So Tangela, you mentioned, I made a video about it. It has Leech Seed. It has really high defense, and it has Tickle, which lowers attack and defense by 1 stage. And so you set up a Leech Seed, you tickle a Snorlax while it's setting up Curse or whatever. You completely counter what Snorlax is trying to do. It's trying to set up and you're stopping it. And other physical attackers that don't have a boosting move, they just become weaker and you're recovering your HP. Also, Tangela has really low HP, or relatively low. So I use Substitute. I get back all that massive HP pool from Snorlax, which is enough to heal back my Substitute every turn if it would try to kill me. So that's high defense, low HP, Leech Seed, Substitute made Tangela really good, and the Tickle just made it even better. Another couple of Pokemon, Yanma and Butterfree, they have Compound Eyes, which increases your accuracy. I use this in doubles. I use Swagger, which gives the Pokemon you hit +2 attack, but confuses them. And I had the partner Tauros with a Person Berry, which cures confusion. So I give them a +2 attack. And you could do this with other Pokemon, but Swagger is inaccurate, so they would miss. But Yanma and Butterfree, they do not miss. So it's a reliable strategy. And then the last Pokemon I've written down is Dugong. Somebody asked me, like Sandy, a viewer of both of us, asked me, have you ever like considered Dugong? And I was like, well, Dugong is just like worse Lapras and Walrein. And then I started looking at the moves and like, what can I do with Dugong? And I saw Fake Out Perish Song.
Mm-hmm.
this combination of moves, Walrein doesn't get it, Lapras doesn't get it. So I made a doubles team with Fake Out, Perish Song, Support Dugong, and I got 246 wins. So
It's crazy.
that was kind of crazy how well that team did. Of course, the other 3 Pokemon on the team were really strong. And that's the case for a lot of these teams where I use this one weak Pokemon and then the rest of the team is really strong. And like depending on which Pokemon it is and what it's good into and what it is weak into, like you need to have good synergy with the rest of your team. Like if you just use 3 of your favorite Pokemon and they're all weak and they have no synergy, they're all weak to fire, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, your team isn't gonna have a very high chance of success. So you need to think about what makes the Pokemon unique, but then you also need to think about how does this work on the team. Yeah. Any questions?
And I've been quiet most of the time, but I've been just absorbing, kind of what you're talking about, while also thinking about like things that I might want to do in the near future, like at least with my team designs as well. But as for questions, I don't think so. But I guess one is, when are we seeing this Dugon video? Then I feel like you got so many good video ideas backed with all the experience. I mean, I think you have like the live streams or like the VODs, but I'm wondering, are you gonna be doing any videos soon?
Dugong is a live stream. The Butterfree is also a live stream. Yanma was a bunch of also live streams actually.
Mhm.
Tangela had live streams and videos. But yeah, I have a combination of live streams and gameplay videos on one channel. And then some of these Pokemon, if not all of them, will become like I will make a dedicated video summarizing the strategy, the streak, the team building on my second channel. But yeah, for now, only Tangela has one of those videos.
No, I'll
But
be
in the future,
waiting.
hopefully more.
So I guess, do you have any anything you want to questions you want to ask me? Let's just start first.
I have a few.
Mm-hmm.
All right, first, let's start with something very related to what we've talked about. Which Pokemon would you like to see me use and make work?
I think you know the answer to this. What do you think?
I'm thinking maybe an Aggron.
Yeah, I think I would love to see Aggron get like 100 wins. Like it doesn't, like in the tower, maybe the dome, but it needs to be on the team. Maybe like a setup strategy, but maybe not. But just on a team would be cool. Because I think Aggron's hard because Earthquake hurts so much and it's everywhere. And
Yeah.
then it's slow. Then Surf is always everywhere as well, and the one shots it. So I think there are moves and things I think Aggron does well, but it is, I think, a tough Pokemon, at least from my perspective.
Yeah. It is one of the sturdy Pokemon, which is great. However, like I mentioned before with Steelix, like it would not want to tank a Surf from a Walrein, so it's not the best. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. I made a Steelix Mantine team. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
Mantine could help Aggron or Gyarados. Like Gyarados is great, but
I'm thinking
yeah, we'll see.
Aggron with like a Thunder Wave, like, or like a. I feel like Aggron, it could be a good physical, or it's really good physical attacker, but I think it doesn't need to have 4 physical attacking moves. Probably like 1 or 2 like utility moves to just at least be helpful in other situations for the rest of the team could be a good combination. But yeah, I got some ideas and more ideas too on that I want to test out with Aggron.
Yeah, I'll look into getting a streak with Aggron.
That sounds good. I'll be anticipating it.
All right, I have another Pokemon question, but
Mm-hmm.
it's related to doubles, but not to Emerald. Well, it's somewhat related. Do you know about like the doubles Ore format?
Actually, I think
And would you be
Amaryllis.
interested in playing?
Yeah, Amaryllis just messaged me. I think, I don't know when this video is going to get uploaded, but as of this conversation, I think last weekend he messaged me about it. So I'm interested. It's just I gotta see. I gotta find time. I feel like I have way too many things going on in my life and Pokemon adventures that I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
real
that
short.
makes
I'm
sense.
interested. I just gotta find some time.
Yeah, I'm planning to make a little tournament
Mm-hmm.
where like people who have no experience, they're free to join.
That'd be fun. If you,
I'll send you an invite, but like I understand if you don't have time.
mhm. I mean, do you want to invite that or invite like everybody? Like, if I put the link in the description, or do you want to like more hand give out who goes
Yeah,
into?
I'll I don't like you said, I don't know when this comes out, but somewhere after we're recording this, I'm gonna make a video announcement, whatever,
Okay.
about the tournament, and then you can add that link.
Yeah. So either I'll add that. I could add that link, but in case again, don't know when these videos are going out, but we'll add BVreeze's channels in the description. So if you're interested, that video might already be out. If not, it's coming. So check out
Yeah.
his channels in the description.
All right. I have two more questions, but they're Monster Hunter related.
Ooh, Master.
So yeah, want to do some monster hunting sometime together? I don't know which
Which
game you
game?
play, but
Which game are you thinking?
I would be up for a couple. Actually, one that I really want to do some hunting in, but I don't know if you have this. Monster Hunter Try, because like there are fan servers online
Ooh,
nowadays.
yeah, that's the first one I played. I had it on the Wii. I don't even know if I have the Wii anymore. But can you, like, can I play it on the computer? If that makes sense.
You can play it on the Wii and on the computer, and you can play with like the people who are on the Wii while you're on the computer, and the other way around,
I
as
feel
far as I'm
like
aware.
I that'd be fun. I feel like I gotta bring my one friend into that too, see if he's interested. Because Try was like our baby first time experiencing Monster Hunter.
Yeah, same for me.
But I think as for hunting monsters together, probably I'm thinking Worlds or Wilds might be a little bit easier, at least
Yeah,
short term.
definitely.
But I am very rusty, just so you know.
Oh, don't worry. I haven't played as much either, but
Yeah, I have to
it,
re-download the game, but yeah, you can. We'll chat about it after because I've been meaning to get back at least hunting some monsters because it's such a fun game, and I don't know, it's just not on my radar at the moment. But I've been meaning to get back, and I really want to play. I think it's 4 Ultimate. I'm like 1 or 2 quests away from fighting the Dalamadur. The Dalamadur, I forgot what it's called. That huge snake dude.
yeah. I also haven't beaten that game. I do have it. I had it on my 3DS originally,
Mm-hmm.
and that just didn't feel the same to me. If I
It
don't know
feels
if you
weird,
know what
but
I mean. Yeah,
it's a
I
different
just like
experience.
playing it with a controller on a bigger screen.
The game's
It
meant for a
just feels like
controller.
that's how it should be.
Yeah, agreed. It's meant for a controller.
All right, and then one last Monster Hunter related question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Monster Hunter Stories, and are you planning to play the new one?
Isn't that like I gotta look this up. I've never played it. Is the short answer? And I don't think I'm looking to play the new one. But yeah. What is this game?
It's basically Monster Hunter, but it plays like Pokemon,
So it's like
sort of.
turn based.
Yeah,
How would you rate
and you
this
have
game? Is it a lot of fun, or is it more just a different
it's
maybe?
amazing.
Is
It
it?
I wish Pokemon got the kind of love that this game gets. Like
Huh.
it's amazing. Like of course the new game I haven't played yet, but it's looking good. I
Mm-hmm.
played the second game a lot. I have the first game, but I didn't finish it because I bought it on my phone and then stopped playing games on my phone. So I didn't finish that one, but I think it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit different from Pokemon, but it's a similar idea, but with
All right,
but
guys.
it's
So
Monster
we're back
Hunter,
with
and there's a lot of cool animations. Looks good. It's fun. But yeah, I wish Pokemon got this kind of treatment from the developers.
I see. I'm watching a video. This dude's riding the Geochris. He's fighting a Devil Ojo. This looks actually like a lot of fun. Maybe I should try. I guess what's it on the Switch? I'm guessing.
It's on PC, Switch, and probably like PlayStation, Xbox, or whatever, like multiple systems.
Maybe I gotta look into this more because this looks like my type of way to. Like again, I love the Monster Hunter line. It's just sometimes it feels like I'm playing a job. Like I feel like I gotta be so good fighting these monsters, but maybe like that turn-based kind of game, slowing it down. I can still enjoy the Monster Hunter like experience without having to, you know.
Yeah, it's a different kind of challenge. They still have challenging fights, and like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of stays interesting because even when it's like an easier battle, like you get a rating for how well you did in the battle. And you have to like each monster's like certain attacking patterns that if you like predict those, then you get higher rating. And so even like the easier battles where you don't really risk losing, you still like are incentivized to do well because you'll get higher rating, higher rewards. So I think that's also nice.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll give it another check or check it out again because again, love Monster Hunter. So man, I never experienced this, so it might be great.
All right, that's it for my questions.
Yeah, I'll give you one good one, but what's next for you for YouTube for your Pokemon adventures? What's like some of the maybe like main things you're looking to do?
Okay, so the main project I'm working on right now is that I have a new save file on Emerald cartridge, and I'm gonna get all the gold medals with a variety of Pokemon only available in Emerald, or like you can get them by only having Emerald. I mean, no legendaries, no perfect stats, and that's the challenge right now. For like even if like any player, like I have a dead battery, so no extra berries. I can only get like one Milotic maybe. Stuff like that. No extra move tutors. Like I'm gonna try to avoid all the move tutors. No TMs that you can't get multiple of.
That's
Like
gonna be
anyone
hard.
at any point should be able to do what I'm gonna do. As a kind of like the
Yeah.
the frontier is not that unbeatable kind of idea. Like anyone can do this. So that's the current project I'm working on, and haven't done anything. Like I've bred a few Pokemon, but I was like preparing for this podcast, grinding a lot of streams with the team to get like good feeling for what I'm going to talk about. Um, so yeah, that's starting after we record this. I'm going to focus more on that again.
Cool.
So I think that's interesting because like with most of the teams I use, I have perfect stats on the Pokemon.
Hmm.
And like it's easy to say when you're using Pokemon that have perfect stats, like you don't need perfect stats, you can beat this, but I'm using perfect stats. So yeah, I'm just trying to show like you can beat this without needing like you need to breed 1,000 eggs to get these good stats on these Pokemon
Well, it
and
should be
stuff
a
like that. So yeah, that
or maybe it's a new. There are different levels of that challenge, which I think it'd be really cool to see and maybe get an experience for yourself too. See how you navigate all that, especially having like one toxic, or I mean, I guess you could have other toxics if you like breed for it, but yeah, it's pretty much
yeah,
one
that's
toxic.
part of it. Like one of the videos I made recently was about like you can breed a Pokemon. Like I bred a Skarmory. It hatched and it had protect, toxic, rest, and some other move. Roar, maybe?
Yeah, you just gotta be smart with the breeding process or like strategic with it.
Yeah.
That'd be fun though. That'd be
Oh, it
cool to
had
see.
aerial ace. That was the last move.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's the current main project. But yeah, there will be other things. I have a lot of things I want to do, and there's only so much time.
I know it's the difficulty for me too is figuring out there's so much fun things to do. Which is what do you do and what do you sacrifice not doing?
Yeah.
It's a good problem though. I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather have like too many things to do than too little.
Hmm. I guess before we wrap this up, though, do you have anything else for me or for the audience, maybe?
I hope this was useful to some people. Like I know I talked a lot about a lot of maybe very intricate, like more detailed stuff that you may or may not care that much about, or like you're maybe more like I just want to use fun Pokemon, and that's fine. But I hope this was useful for some people. If you're interested, or like if you have any questions, I'll try to check out the comments and answer them. And you can also like ask them on my channel
Hmm.
or in Riley's Discord.
I like how
I
like
know this has
Riley's
been linked before.
I like how Riley's
Um,
Discord is now just like the main hub for like this podcast.
yeah, I'm pretty active over there, and there's some other people who know stuff
Yep.
active over there. or you can just DM me on Discord as well. And yeah, on my channel, I have some serious teams, but I also have a lot of not serious at all teams that I try to make work and get gold symbols. And usually, like, often that's pretty successful, even if the Pokemon are bad. So if you're interested in that, consider watching my channel or having a look at my channel. Yeah, I hope it wasn't too boring. All the
Nonsense.
details.
I think people really enjoy getting in the nitty gritty weeds of things on, at least on this channel. Like we get a lot of, or at least I get a lot of feedback on the in depthness of this game. I think
Yeah,
there's a lot of other channels
you
that
can go really deep in
you
like
can, yeah.
researching this game, or but even if you don't, like you can get very far. There are very many ways to approach this game, and it's a single player game, so I think everyone should approach it in the way they want. Like if you want to go in blind, like I would recommend going in blind at first for your first facilities and whatever, because you can only go in blind once. But
Yeah.
then, like, either you keep going without any external resources. I mean, you're watching this video, so who knows for how much that counts. But like, you could go look up the move sets of every Pokemon, which stats they have, or you could not do that. And like, it's completely up to you. And don't feel pressured to do one thing or the other. Like, do what you like to do. If you like breed for your Pokemon, you use perfect stats, or you use no perfect stats, or like you use PK Hex or whatever program. Like it doesn't really matter. Like it's your single player experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're honest about it and you don't like go saying, "Oh, I got 200 wins and I totally bred these Pokemon legit," but you PK Hex all of them. Like, don't go doing that sort of stuff, of course. But yeah, it's single player, so do whatever you want. Have fun. We're here to enjoy ourselves.
All right, well, we're gonna wrap this up. Definitely check out BVreeze's channels. Got a lot of videos. Leave all the links in the description. And I want to thank again BVreeze sharing the knowledge. It was an entertaining and educational conversation. I know you did most of the talking, but that's again kind of how I like things. I like the whoever's
No
on the show
problem.
to do most of the talking. So definitely
I'm used
appreciate it.
to being the one who talks a lot with the videos and the stream, so that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fun being here, and yeah, like I said, I hope this is useful to someone or a bunch
Definitely, yeah,
of
definitely
people.
will be.
And oh yeah, one last thing, like I hadn't played the Frontier in like since I was a kid, and I started 6 months ago, and I did play a lot, but like I have multiple multi-hundred streaks. Like if you want to be good at this, and like I started off with being completely unserious with my teams. Like you, if you just play for a while and you pay attention to what happens, you can become you can get really long streaks. Like anyone with the right mindset,
You get it done.
you can get really long streaks. And I'm not like I'm still learning a lot. I'm still making a lot of mistakes. My teams aren't perfect. You can get very far. And like you just want to like if you want to improve your streaks, like there are a lot of things that I talked about like but also uh reflect on why you lost your battles. I think that's a good thing to add. Like you want to think about I lost this battle, and I think a lot of times I see a lot of people who lose the RNG. They're like, "Yeah, I lost because of Quick Claw or whatever." Yeah, but Quick Claw is going to happen all the time. Think about how can you prevent that loss to Quick Claw. Maybe you need to change your team. Maybe you need to change a move. It's not just you lost the RNG. You need to think about how do you prevent losing to this RNG after you lost to it? How do I play around it?
Mm-hmm.
What could I have done differently? Because a lot of the time people lose and they had a better chance to win doing something else. But yeah, that it depends on how serious you want to take this, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you don't have to take it that seriously. But still, if you just want to get goals and like you don't have the most optimal team, it's still good to reflect on could I have done something here? Or was it just like, okay, the game decided I got the 1 in 1,000 RNG to lose here and or whatever was needed to lose. Like sometimes you just lose, unless maybe you have the perfect team, which in some facilities may or may not be possible. Like it, let's we should assume it isn't really possible in Emerald, but there are some teams in some games that are basically capable. They're pretty much perfect or almost perfect. So yeah, keep that in mind. Reflect on your losses, and even if you lost to RNG, maybe you can change something to lower the chance of losing.
Mm-hmm. All
And yeah,
right.
I think that's it.
All right. Well, again, thanks everybody for listening, hanging out with us, and again, check out description for BVreeze's videos and channels and any other social media stuff. We'll link down below. But anyway, until the next time, we'll chat with you all soon.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. All right, take care, everybody.